Montgomery County woman is found guilty today of first-degree murder for killing her father-in-law.
In fact, just a moment ago, a jury found Amanda Taylor guilty for the stabbing death of her late husband's father, Charles Taylor. This was back on April 4th of this year. WSOS 10's Bethany Teague was in court today following this case. She joins us now outside of the courthouse. So, Bethany, so often in these cases, the attorneys always tell us we have to wait till the case goes to trial before they'll reveal information. So what did we learn today?
Hi, John. We learned today that Amanda Taylor stabbed her father-in-law, Charles Taylor, 31 times. The medical examiner said that 11 of those stab wounds would have been lethal, all on their own. We also heard from testimony today that Amanda Taylor described the murder as having felt like her first roller coaster ride at Carowinds. After the murder, Taylor then posed for a picture in front of Charles's body, holding a bloody knife and smirking. She then sent that picture to a friend who posted it on what was described as a serial killer website. Taylor said she blamed Charles for the drug addiction and subsequent suicide of her husband, Rex. The Commonwealth attorney said that her excitement and her anticipation over this murder was chilling. The jury was out for less than 25 minutes before they reached a verdict of guilty.
Hello, this is a prepaid call from Amanda Taylor, an inmate at the Virginia Department of Corrections, Fluvanna Correctional. To accept this call, press 0. To refuse this call, your current balance is $19.62. This call is from a correction facility and is subject to monitoring and recording. Thank you for using GTL.
Hey Amanda, how's it going?
Hi, Jonathan. It's going good. How are you?
Pretty good. How's your day? Have you had lunch yet?
Yeah, I have. I'm waiting to eat it. We got chicken wings today. I'm excited. It's one of our good treats.
Well, are you still down for us to do interviews later today?
Absolutely. I'm so ready. I can't wait to see you.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I'm excited. So, I guess we'll, I just wanted to make sure that was cool, but, yeah, so once you're done with dinner, then we'll get everything set up and we'll record, so.
Alright, it sounds great. I look forward to it. Okay, the major was here, so I wanted to make sure the major wasn't there, because I didn't want her coming over here being weird.
Oh, yeah, no, it's all good.
She's doing, like, a whole lot of rounds and stuff today, and, like, just being extra, apparently.
Well, are you ready to rock and roll?
Yeah, I am. Do I look like garbage?
No, you look good.
Okay. As long as you think so.
You've done this a million times, but let's start things off with you introducing yourself. Why are you currently incarcerated?
Well, I'm Amanda Taylor, known as the Selfie Killer, and I'm currently serving 605 years for the murder of my father-in-law.
Why are you called the Selfie Killer?
Because I took a picture with him after I stabbed him to death.
We'll probably get into that later. We'll get into why you did that and stuff, but I guess I think people get curious when they hear about offenders and like what their childhood was like and stuff. So let's start at the beginning. Where were you born?
I was born in Maryland, but I was only there for like a year or two. I grew up down in Florida.
How long did you live in Florida? What was Florida like?
Florida was wonderful. I loved it. I grew up in the swamps. It was down in the Everglades, like right outside of Lake Okeechobee. And I lived there from like 2 or 3 till I was 10. I moved to Virginia when I was 10, I think.
What was your upbringing like? Like, what was it like? What was your family dynamic like? What was your family like?
It was good. I had a good family. I have a good family. I was raised by my mom and my grandparents while we were in Florida. They stayed in Florida after I moved here to Virginia. But while I was in Florida, like, life was wonderful. It's very free down there. Like, I was just a really happy kid. I had really good like family support. Our family was very close. My mom and my grandparents were very she ended up marrying, I have a little sister, Andrea, and she's 4 years younger, and my mom ended up marrying her dad. And so I had a stepdad for a little bit, and it was nice. I'm a papa's girl though. I love my grandpa. He was wonderful.
And so then you moved to Virginia. Where did you end up living in Virginia?
We moved to Christiansburg, and I bounced back and forth. Well, with my family, I stayed in Christiansburg, but once I got older, I bounced back and forth between Christiansburg and Blacksburg.
What can you tell us about Christiansburg? What's Christiansburg like?
Well, I hate it. Like, I think it's great, but it just doesn't take you anywhere. But it's nice, like, once you have a family and stuff, it's, like, nice to, like, settle down. But I guess through, like, my teenage years and, like, young adult, like, my early 20s or whatever, like, it just didn't offer too much. Thankfully, like in my early teenage, like, years or whatever, like, we had a really good music scene. So that's one thing I can say about Christiansburg is our music scene was great.
So tell me about the music scene in Christiansburg. What kind of music do you like? Like what kind of scene are you talking about?
Okay, so then I'm talking about like 2004 to like 2000 and like 7. We had a really good like hardcore like sceney music and a good death. We had a great like death metal scene too, like later on. But I really loved like the emo hardcore style. We had a lot of good bands that came from our town.
And it was living in Virginia that you ended up meeting your boyfriend, ultimately your husband, Rex. What can you tell us about you meeting Rex?
I met him and I was 13, and he was in a band, and he went to the high school. Had to go to an alternative school. I ended up getting kicked out of middle school and had to go to an alternative school next to my high school, but it was right next to it, so I still got to see like people that went there, and he was one of them. And I met him because all my friends were obsessed with him. So he was the one with the big green mohawk and the guitarist in a band. He was very intriguing to like all my friends. So I learned of him through that way.
How did you guys end up being a couple?
Because back then we had MySpace, and I think we like friended each other, and then we realized we had the same birthday, and that was a wrap. We had the same birthday and the same music interests, so we fell in love.
When did it go from just being boyfriend girlfriend to you guys ultimately getting married?
We dated like we were together for like a year, and then I ended up getting pregnant with our first child, Damien. I was 15, and so right after we had Damien, we ended up getting married. I had turned 16 then. I got married in September of 2007. So like 2 years of dating.
What was Rex like as a person? What is it that you guys like bonded over? What were his interests? What can you tell us about Rex?
Rex was great. He was mean. He was crazy. I did not like him at first. When all my friends liked him, I was like, ew, he's a douchebag, and he's not even cool enough to be a douchebag. But all my friends loved him, so I figured I'd see what the hype was. And I found out that he really was so cool. Like, he was the only one who was into, like, really deep, like, just foul things, and didn't have that's what I loved about him so much, is he had no shame with his interest or how he wanted to express himself. And I think that's what I started to, like, fall in love with him about, was, like, he just loved who he was and had no problem expressing it, and he didn't care what people thought of him.
You both shared an interest in horror and true crime and things of that nature. Did you guys kind of find that interest together, or did he introduce you to it? Did you introduce him to it? How did you guys discover that you both really were into horror and true crime?
Well, he realized that I was into it super hard when we both had the same Dawn of the Dead shirt, and I wore it to school, and I did not know he had that shirt. And when he saw it, that's when we just started like nerding out super hard over our stuff, which, like, I had one or two friends I was able to, like, share interests with like that and talk about it, but not like him. He was like a horror junkie to the fullest. And he opened my eyes to like a lot of like underground stuff. Like he introduced me to like grindcore music, which I ended up falling in love with. That's what he did on the side, was he did these side like drum machine projects with him and another person online. And so he introduced me to a world of music that I'll forever love him behind. And then a lot of like we both found an interest with like serial killers and stuff, but he was way more deeper into it and took me into that world a lot more than I was able to find on my own.
You talked about the music scene in Christiansburg and Blacksburg, and that he was making music. What are some of the bands and stuff and projects that he was a part of?
One of his very first bands was Gun Alley Atrocity. He was in that, and I think he like 8th grade they started. And that was the one that he really like held on to during high school. But at home he did like during high school he did his side project Torpedo, which was his own like grindcore style thing. And he also did like 2 side projects with people online, Surgical Excision and Postpartum Procedures. And that was with 2 boys that he had met like in 2 different states. So those were the 3 that he really like put a lot of like his life into during high school. But after that he was in Human Excoriation with some of the guys from another band in our town and this band called Who Died, which they changed their name to Friend Fights Friend, and they were out of Covington.
You brought up that Rex introduced you to the world of like serial killers and stuff like that. What is it that attracted you to that community, and like what was there a particular case or something that he brought up that got you interested in it? Can you think of like what sparked that interest with you?
Well, it started because he asked where my dad was. My dad was in prison for murder, and I kind of like explained the situation to him, and he was like, he thought that was so cool. So he was like, I remember he had this scrapbook of just like printouts and stuff that he did at school, and it was on like Manson, Richard Ramirez, Ted Bundy. It was like the big name, Gacy, like the big name, most known type ones then. And I knew I already had this obsession with Charles Manson. I found out about Manson through Marilyn Manson, through the bands, because they all had the serial killer names. So that's how I told him, like, I took a big interest in Charles Manson, and there's a million documentaries on it that I would, I don't know, I liked them because of the musician. That's how I ended up finding him. But when he opened that scrapbook, he took me to a whole new world.
How did this interest in serial killers evolve into you guys starting to like write to inmates and things like that? Who was the first inmate you guys wrote to together?
So the first one I wrote to was Charles Manson. I was like, he pushed me to do it. He's like, just try it, see what happens. And we ended up doing that when I was still pregnant with Damien, so I was 15, 16. But he had already wrote, I don't remember who exactly, but they were just like random offenders that were sitting on murder charges that he had found on, there's this thing he found through somewhere online that basically was a list of every murderer in America, and he would go on there and just find them and find their address. And you know, back then the internet wasn't like that. It was hard to find a lot of stuff. But he wrote a lot of like random just people who were just had the charge.
Mm-hmm.
But I think like the first like big one to respond back to him was Richard Ramirez.
And so you guys both wrote to Richard Ramirez pretty frequently. Did you guys develop a relationship with him?
Yeah, we had a close relationship with him. Rex did more so than I did. I would write him every now and then, but he really put a lot of effort into staying in touch with him because he could just sense like the loneliness in him or whatever. Ramirez took a whole lot of interest in our family, and Rex liked that. I liked that. That's one thing I liked about him a lot, was that like he admired us as a family.
What would you guys talk about? What what did you guys share in common when you communicated with Richard Ramirez?
I personally would talk about like he liked hearing about like our summer vacations or like things we would go do. He was obsessed with the pool. He was obsessed with like hearing about outdoorsy stuff.
Mm.
And he didn't like to talk about himself much, and which was shocking because I thought he'd be all about himself, and I wanted him to be all about himself. But he really liked. Would always send back like at least 10 questions of, well, what's it look like outside today, and what do you guys have planned for your next trip? And he loved getting pictures of like us as a family. He did a lot of artwork and a lot of birthday cards for Damien, my son. I have a birthday card from Richard from like age 2 to like 6 for Damien.
How did it, building a relationship with someone like that and then having them ultimately be executed, how does that make you, how did that feel to you guys? How did you react to that?
Like for Richard to die?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I don't know. I find happiness in that. Like, they're free. I know they're going to go party hard in hell, and that's probably what he had been waiting for. So I don't get sad. I get sad. Like, I think the only person well, no, I can't even say that. I was going to say the only person I was really sad for was William Morva, our friend that got executed a couple years ago, who's in Virginia. But the way he was being beat and stuff in prison, like, I guess, like, that death was his freedom. So I don't really get sad over stuff like that. Because I know I'll be able to hang out with him one day down there.
Are there any other notable people that you guys had developed a relationship with that you'd like to talk about?
Paul Rung, I love him. I love him so much. He was a serial killer out of Illinois. He was so wonderful to our family. He was probably one of my most favorite people in prison I had wrote. He had such an amazing heart. I don't care what anybody says about him. And he was there for me a lot when Rex died. So I do like to give acknowledgement to his name because he is wonderful.
I'm sure there's going to be people listening to this, listening to you talk so fondly about these violent rapists and killers and stuff like that. How do you feel about what they've done? Like, Paul Rung was a rapist.
Crime?
Yeah, the crimes and stuff that he had done. How do you feel about that?
I support them. If that's what he wanted to do, then, like, ultimately that's what he wanted to do. Clearly something leads up to people acting the way they do. And, you know, that's the way he expressed himself. And there's no one, like, who am I to throw judgment? Like, who is anyone to throw judgment? If that's how he wanted to live his life, then so be it. Like, that's nobody's business. And I don't know. It doesn't really bother me. It doesn't matter to me because it's going to happen every day, every minute. Someone dies, someone gets raped. Like, it is what it is. And, like, I don't really look at them as monsters or bad people. They just, I don't know. That's just how they chose to express themselves, and I support it.
This interest that you and Rex had writing to inmates and stuff like that ultimately led to you guys kind of getting attention from, like, authorities and things like that, and it was, like, affecting your family. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, it did cause a lot of issues. Rex had wrote Bobby Joe Long a letter, who's a serial killer in Florida, and he wrote him a letter expressing a dream he had, which had also been a crime around our area. And his prison caught it and was like, this is far too detailed, this is far too, like, whatever. And they sent it to our sheriff's department, which we ended up getting social services involved. And then they realized, like, they saw my social media, they saw Rex's social media, and they were like, how can you broadcast this, glorify this, and be like parents? So we did almost get our son took away, but there just wasn't enough for them to actually go through. But it does, like, dealing with people in prison does, like, alert, like, authority type people, because I guess they don't understand like how someone as you out there would want to speak to someone and me in here. Like,
Mhm.
so yeah, it does cause like a really bad outlook. But it wasn't going to stop me. Like, no one can tell you what to do. That's part of like our rights and like freedom of expression, freedom of speech, freedom of your freedom. So, we didn't do anything bad. Like, we weren't going around like killing a lot of people or nothing. We weren't letting these people tell us what to do. So I just thought that was very unfair. They did try to take our children. Well, we just had Damien at the time, but
So with the like social stigma and like legal attention that you guys were getting, it started putting stress on your family, and Rex started struggling with drugs. What can you tell us when those problems started to occur?
well, Rex always battled with drugs. And I think that's what they used in the end to like really hold something against us to try to take our kids. But Rex had been battling addiction with pills since he was like 13 years old, 12, 13 years old. His father, my victim, got him addicted to Oxycontin. As well, he introduced him to it at a young age, and Rex ultimately took his life because he struggled with it so bad, and just it caused like a lot of negative issues on our family. But social services being open based off the letters did end up having like an investigation. Dude, they were like, oh, well, let's drug test you guys. And I passed, he didn't. And that's what ultimately like led to our separation in the end, was he wasn't allowed to be in the household while he couldn't pass a drug test. So he moved to his dad's, and I ended up moving to my mom's. And then within 4 months, Rex killed himself.
Let's take a step back for a second. So, when I went out to Virginia to see you and go check out the locations, we went to the last apartment that you guys lived at. Was life there good, and then things fell apart? So, what ultimately led to you guys separating from that location, and then you going and living with your mom and him living with his dad?
No, life was great there. I was so happy in that apartment. I was so happy I got to show you around that area, because honestly, like Jonathan, it was so wonderful to raise a family right there. We really had it made, and that was stripped from us because of the drug testing. I couldn't live there without Rex. I was Rex's home. I wasn't on like he was like the least person and all that, so I couldn't keep the apartment without him there. So we had to give up our home.
Mm-hmm.
But I stayed there for like a month after they came and like try to make us separate. And he would come at nighttime, and he would still like we would still like be a family and stuff after like 6 p.m. after we knew like social services was not going to be out looking around, but they really did put a lot of effort into watching us. And it just got way too stressful, and then I just decided to go to my mom's.
So, what can you tell us about? So you ultimately end up killing his dad, Charlie Taylor. What can you tell us about Charlie Taylor as a person?
Well, I personally love Charlie. Charlie was good to me. He was good to me and my kids, both my kids. So my daughter is not Rex's biological child. I got pregnant by my friend Carrie when me and Rex separated for a few months. And then we got back together while I was still pregnant, and Rex raised Dayla that is his child. Like, he raised Dayla as his. And, well, Charlie was very accepting to Dayla too. And and Damien was his world. So as a grandfather and as a father-in-law, like, he was very, very wonderful to us. He took good care. He spoiled all of us. We didn't have to really work. We just, like, he took care of us. He was like, I don't know, he spoiled us. And he had so much love, like, towards my kids. Like, he was a good grandpa. But to Rex, he didn't view Rex as a child, as a son. He viewed him as a party buddy, which I think damaged a lot of our family. Like, it damaged Rex really bad. So that was the issue I had, was how he would be mean to Rex and use drugs and pills like to control Rex to do things like he basically played puppet master with pills. And it wasn't fair to me. I hated watching it.
So would he like withhold pills and stuff from Rex as like a punishment, or how you said he was treating him like a puppet master? What do you mean by that?
Mm-hmm. Well, okay, so Charlie lived with his dad, Alan Papal. That was Rex's grandpa, and he was like in his 80s, his late 70s, his 80s. He was old, and he was like bedridden basically. Alan couldn't do anything for himself. So Charlie moved down there to take care of him, but he put it all on Rex. So Rex would, mind you, well, you saw where Charlie's house was, and you saw where our apartment was. Every single morning at 7 a.m., like, okay, well, let me go back. So Charlie wouldn't give Rex his medicine, knowing that he'll start withdrawing instantly, like very fast. Like that Oxycontin is a deep pill, and they were 80, so that's like one of the highest milligrams, I believe. Like it was very intense, and he was taking up to like 6 of those a day. Well, his dad would do things like not give it to him, because we would always go to his house every single day, and most of the day we spent there. He wouldn't give him his medicine. He would make Rex have to get up at 7 a.m. just so he would drive down there and feed Alan or bathe him or just do whatever. And if he didn't come on time, say if Rex went at 7:30, he wouldn't give him his medicine, and then make him feel so bad, and like use his grandfather as like a guilt trip kind of thing. And it really hurt Rex, 'cause Rex loved his bat ball, and so I was just sick seeing that.
Mm-hmm.
It was, and then he would do it like with money. Like of course, like we could financially take care of ourselves, but like we did need Charlie's help a lot sometimes. And he would just not, he would be like, oh, well, I'm not going to give you your money today if you're, like if he didn't come down there, if he didn't. So he would just like withhold things that were needed. If Rex didn't do what he said, and he would want Rex to sit down there from like freaking 12 to 6 just to watch the race with him, which Rex is a dad, and our kids, like Damien just started kindergarten, Dayla's a newborn, like he wanted to be with the family, and I didn't like keeping the kids down there because of like the atmosphere was just nasty. So it was just a struggle on Rex, and it wasn't fair.
You guys separate. You guys are living with your folks. What is it that ultimately led up to Rex committing suicide?
So we separated in April is when that happened, and then I moved into my mom's in May, and then he ended up killing himself in August. But during that time, my mom lived with her husband, so my mom's and her husband's rules were that I wasn't allowed to speak to Rex until he was able to get clean and we could have our family again. And like we had put our family through a whole lot. Like we had separated a couple times during our marriage, and me and Rex are very crazy and very foul. So we just put our family through a bunch, going through stuff like this. So this was like the final like straw. They had it. They were like, you guys are too toxic. You're not allowed to freaking speak to each other or correspond or whatever. So I had to honor that, and I did the best I could. So I wasn't really sure what was going on with Rex, but my mom and Rex are really, really, really close. So she would like take the kids out in the parking lot or out in the driveway to see them, and like she was the middleman for like him and the kids and stuff. And my mom was very good to Rex. She wasn't like bossy with how he spent the time with the kids or like what he could do with them. She's very she just wanted us to figure it out. We had been going through this a lot. So the night before he killed himself, he called me, and he was super drunk, super out of it, and he was hurting my feelings because I was like, dude, our son's birthday is the next day. Like, why do you sound like this right now? And he was allowed to come to, like, we were going to do a birthday party, and he was allowed to actually be at my mom's around me. So, like, it was huge for me. And then he still couldn't freaking call me, like, sober. And I don't even remember what he was saying. He was slurring so bad. He was just out of it. And I said what I needed to say, and then I hung up. And then I woke up the next morning, and my friend called me saying that they talked to his grandma, because they lived at the same apartments as his other grandma, and he had killed himself.
What was your reaction to that? How did that make you feel?
Well, I didn't believe it because he always was doing those pranks on me. Him and his dad would always call me when we were like arguing, or if I just needed time to myself. Like, we wouldn't even be arguing. Say I just need an hour, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna leave you with the kids at your dad's. Like, let me have an hour in the apartment to just like zone out or something. I would get a call within 15 minutes that he freaking wrecked his car into a off the mountain or something crazy. Like, they were always pranking me with death. And so I didn't believe it at first, but because it's our son's birthday, like, why are you killing yourself? Why would you do that when you know what today is? So I was in disbelief, and then I called the sheriff's department and I said, I need you to go see if there's a homicide or a suicide down in Ellet Valley. And I gave them the address, and they told me to stay on the phone. And then within like 10 minutes, I had like 20 officers at my front door. And then I was like, oh, this is real. And I kind of like spaced out.
When did it like click with you that he was actually dead?
I still don't think it has. I don't know. I don't think I've ever grieved it. I think like it really hit me when I saw my mom break down, because I have a really bad problem. Like, if I get over emotional, or if I get like over emotional, I black out and I really just don't acknowledge anything in my surroundings. And I did that for 8 months. And I know that sounds crazy, but from the time I found that out to the time, the minute the minute I killed Charlie, that's when everything clicked. Those 8 months, I was like a zombie. But seeing my mom break down, I think would hit me like, oh, he's really gone. To see someone else's pain over him. But it still hasn't clicked to me. I still feel like it's just some sick joke.
So what was the 8 months like after his death? Like leading up to your birthday? Because once it came to your birthday, that was your very first birthday by yourself without sharing it with him. So what were like the 8 months leading up to your birthday, and then let's get into your actual birthday.
Well, the 8 months was like, it was very fast to me. It was like I was stuck in just like this daze. I wasn't myself. I was lost. I never lost anybody before. Like, I never had anyone really like die that was close to me. So it was very, I felt super empty, and I just didn't know how to move forward. Like, we were together from 13, 14 to he died when I was 22, or no, I was 23. And so that 10 years of being suffocated by someone, like, we were literally one. So to have him like gone, I was extremely lost. Lost is the best word.
So let's go up to the date of your first birthday. So it's your 24th birthday by yourself, and that was kind of the night where everything kind of fell apart. So what can you tell us about your birthday? You guys decided to go to Champs. Tell us about hanging out at Champs, and then tell us about what happens after that.
Okay, so the plan was we were supposed to go. So it was me and my best friend at the time, Mariah, and her husband, Johnny, and my co-defendant, Sean. And we were supposed to go to a horror convention down in North Carolina a few days prior, but I didn't have anybody to actually, it was the day before. But I didn't have anybody to keep Damien and Dayla. My mom was busy. So instead, we said we were going to go bar hopping in Blacksburg, which was, that was something we usually did, like, for fun, the four of us. So we ended up going to Mariah's house, and we had a little party or whatever, and then we went to Blacksburg, and we went to, like, a couple different places. But the last place we went to was Champs, and that was super special because, like, Champs has the best shows, and that was something, like, when Rex was still alive, like, all of us would do, and, like, Champs is just really special to us. It was our favorite place.
So Sean was at your birthday. when did you meet Sean? Did you meet Sean after Rex died, or was he someone that was like a friend before he died? How did you develop a relationship with Sean?
I knew Sean. I met Sean when I was like 14, 15 years old. He was really big, like in the punk scene of Blacksburg. He's older than me. He's, I believe, like 10 years older than me. So they had like frat houses and stuff that would do like um, shows or whatever. There's this place called the Dog House. It was but like a little frat house or whatever. But I met him there during a show, and he was really close with Rex. Him and Rex were great friends. They were extremely close. I don't think they played music together, but I know they were like they were just really good friends. And then out of like nowhere, Sean just kind of disappeared, and I didn't see him again for those like 9 years until Rex died. I think like a month after Rex died, um, Sean popped back up, and that's when he was looking for Rex, and he found out what happened to him, and that's how him and I got close.
And so, what was the media talks about your relationship with Sean? Like you guys were boyfriend and girlfriend, or anything like that? What was the dynamic of your relationship with Sean?
Sean was my friend. We occasionally, like, we were close. There's no denying that. Like, we were really, really close. I love Sean. Um, he was one of the, like, he was supported me a whole lot after losing Rex. He was a really good friend, but we did, like, cross lines. Like, we weren't, like, in a relationship, but we basically were without a title, I guess. Mm-hmm. He was, like, my go-to. It was always just me, him, and Mariah and Johnny. He lived in their basement, so Mariah was the only person I wanted to be around after I lost Rex, and I just got close with Sean because he was always there.
So you guys are at Champs, and following Champs, you guys end up going to the cemetery and seeing Rex's grave. What is it that led? What was it that inspired? Like you guys just having a party? You guys are hanging out, having fun at Champs. Why did you guys end up going to Rex's grave? And what happened after that?
I don't know. I was drunk. I was super, like, gone. We ended up down there. I don't know which one of our ideas it was to go down there. It's hard not to involve him. Like, that's his birthday. That's, like, you know, and Rex and Johnny were best friends. Mariah and, like, we were all, like, a pack. And it was just weird celebrating it without him. So we ended up down there. Because it just didn't feel right.
So what happened when you guys were down at the cemetery and seeing Rex's grave? What happened after that?
I don't know what, like, possessed me, but I got crazy. I tried to stab myself, so Sean got me a knife for my birthday, which ended up being the murder weapon, which is what I killed Charlie with. But I did stab myself. I was trying to kill myself on his grave. I was just ready to go. I felt like the time was right, so I tried. And Sean and Johnny and Mariah, like, stopped me. They, like, held me down and threw me in the car, and I ended up hurting myself really bad. I was trying to stab my heart. And so they ended up, from there, we went to my mom's, and like everything was just spiraling out of control. My mom freaked out that I was there, and I was hurt, and I was acting crazy, and so they called the cops because I tried to, like, I don't know, I think, like, me and Mariah got into it because she was scared and trying to, like, restrain me or whatever. Like, it just got really bad, and so my mom called the cops, and I ended up leaving. I left as soon as I realized she called the cops. I just, like, left. I booked, and they ended up getting me, like, within, like, 30 minutes. And that's how I ended up in the mental hospital. They took me to the real hospital, and I had to get stitches and stuff on my chest. And then they took me to St. Albans mental health hospital.
And how long were you at St. Albans?
I was at St. Albans for a couple of days. I was only there. I got evaluated. And that I told them how I was feeling. I told them what I was going through. And they ended up releasing me within, like 2 or 3 days.
What is it that you told them? So they did a mental health check on you. What is it that they asked you? What is it that you shared with them?
I told them that I was suicidal. I wanted to die. I told them how I lost my husband. And in my husband's suicide letter, it stated, like, he wrote to me that he wishes that I would be with him and the kid, or me and the kids would be with him, out of this world. And so in my head, I'm like, all right, well, I got to kill my kids and kill myself so I can be with him. And I did not like that. Like, I'll hurt anybody in the world, but I can't hurt my children. That's just, that wasn't something I was okay with myself or even considering or even thinking. So I expressed it to them. I told them that. And I told them, I said, I really want to, like, I told him I had a plan to kill my father-in-law, that I was very, very, very upset with him. And I told him about, like, how I felt like connecting with Rex, getting his attention, I had to get it in some kind of form of mass destruction, whether that's like shooting up social services, which I considered, or shooting up Blacksburg, because it was always like a daydream of mine and his. So I told them that I was going to do something insane, and they didn't believe me. They said I was too calm, that when I speak about it, that like they didn't think it was a serious risk, that it just seemed more of a like fantasy, more so than a plan, because of how calm I was, that I seemed okay. So they ended up releasing me, and then days later I killed Charlie. So they were wrong. I needed help. I begged them for help.
So you went there, and you expressed that you were having suicidal and homicidal ideations, and they just let you out prematurely. Did they give you medication or anything like that?
Yeah, they released me on outpatient treatment, which would have been, they assigned me to a therapist. That was in Blacksburg, and then they released me on, the medication was Klonopin, which I had never took before, and I told them I was opposed. I don't want medication. I'm not okay with medication, because I don't know, I can't find anything that balances me right. So I just wanted peace in there, and I just needed someone to teach me how to grieve. That's what I was seeking, was like professional help. And I knew I can't do that in the real world. I'm not going to be able to, like, I told him, I said, setting up a date for me to go see a therapist once a week, I'm not going to follow through with that. I said, I'm not responsible in that kind of way. I need legit, like, institution help, where I'm forced to go through certain stuff. And
So
that's what I asked for.
So you wanted to stay, and they weren't going to let you stay?
Yeah, they refused to let me stay. I couldn't sign myself in. I tried, but there was no solid causes. Like, I guess my issue wasn't valued enough. Like, it was an extreme or something. I don't know.
Did you first start having homicidal ideations after Rex died, or were you having homicidal ideations before Rex had died?
I have ever since I was little or younger. I had a lot of like violent history against like authority, and not just people, but more so like I felt really bad against authority figures, and I got kicked out of school, like I knew earlier, like in my high school, and had to go to an alternative school because I was not okay with I was going to blow the school up, and they were worried about that. I flipped out. Like, I just had a problem with authority. So I always thought about killing people in that kind of like entitlement.
Yeah, and that wasn't the first time that you had been to the mental hospital before, right? You'd had a history of that before. So you had
I had been there a few times.
So you had a history of homicidal ideations, and you had a history of having to get mental health services, and now you're at the mental hospital and you're asking for help, and then they let you out prematurely, basically, because you were saying that...
Exactly. Because I was too calm. They thought I was joking. But how are you, like, but I just wanted, and I asked him during my trial, I was like, well, how am I supposed to act? Like, what does someone have to do and say for you to take them serious? if I tell you I'm scared for my life because I want to kill people, please help me. That's your job to help me. And they failed me drastically. I'm in prison forever because they wouldn't help me.
What ultimately leads from you getting out of the mental hospital to you going to Charlie's house?
Okay, so I called my mom. Mom wouldn't get me. She said absolutely not, because she had just came and she talked to the doctors too, and she said she did not want them releasing me. We had just had a meeting the day prior to them releasing me, and my mom said absolutely not. Her children are not safe. She's not safe. Like, nobody's safe. She begged them to keep me, and so I called her and I said, I was crying. I was like, Mom, they're releasing me. I can't stay. They're not letting me stay here. I said, and she thought I checked myself out. She thought I was like manipulating them to tell them I was okay, to tell them like I wanted to leave, which was complete opposite. And my mom found that out in my trial. They said in my trial, like, I begged to stay. And they did release me on their own. So Sean, I called Mariah, and Mariah was not able to come get me, so Sean did. And he left work. He worked in Christiansburg. This was in in Bradford. And he drove to get me, and I tried to go to my mom's, and my mom was absolutely against it. So I got my clothes and stuff from her that I could have until I figured out something. And then I was supposed to go to Mariah's. So Mariah was open to it. She knew, because Mariah could handle me. Mariah knew how to calm me down. She kept my mind steady. She was willing to help me. And my mom called her and said that she was going to call social services on her, because Mariah has 4 babies, and tell her she's letting someone in her home around her children that is a threat. So I wasn't able to stay at Mariah's. So Sean was living there with her, and he decided to help me, and we ended up going to different hotels until I could figure out a plan. And he stayed with me. So that's what happened after the hospital.
And so you guys are staying at hotels, and you guys are starting to come up with a plan. What's the plan that you guys are starting to come up with?
We had different plans. We had a plan to find help. There was a plan of getting mental help. He was going to take me to, there's this place called Marion. It's an hour or 2 away from where we're from. It's the state hospital. It's a bigger mental hospital. Mm-hmm. That's where I was when I was a teenager. I had tried to kill myself, and I was placed into the juvenile unit there, and I had a lot of help. They helped me real good when I went there, so I wanted to go back there. And then I just didn't have the drive to do that. I said F it. I felt very hopeless and helpless. So then we came up with a plan. We started obsessing over Rex. So in between that 8 months of not having Rex, I was brainwashing myself basically with I was obsessed with Gorgrish, the
Real Gore website.
Yeah. So on there, they had those forms of real suicide and real murder and stuff. So I was obsessing, staying on my phone, watching real hanging, because Rex hung himself. I would watch real hanging videos, real hanging photos, and I would watch murder videos, and I was upset, basically brainwashing myself, to where I felt I needed, watching that stuff was the only time I felt Rex. So getting lost in this world of murder was the only thing that kept him with me, and I felt that's what I needed to do in order to feel him the fullest. And I expressed that to Sean. I told Sean everything related to that, and he liked that stuff as well. We obsessed over the movie Natural Born Killers. And we felt basically that's what we were spiraling to. I don't know, we had a relationship like theirs. That was another plan. We were just going to live that out.
So you guys were going to do something destructive, do something harmful, but you didn't know what it was yet?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I had this alter ego brunette bomber, and I was obsessed with bombings and mass destruction, like mass shootings and stuff like that. And that was something I expressed to him a lot. Was I really wanted to um, shoot up something that would get my name known. I just wanted to take out as many humans as possible, just because. And he like fueled that. He loved my dreams. He loved my ideas. He thought they were freaking Disneyland. He thought they were wonderful. And in the mental state I was in, having him as my hype man made me feel like I was in a dream. Made me feel like we could do anything, and that's kind of the route we wanted to take. That's what made us feel, I don't know, special. It made us feel more alive.
So how did that grow into you guys going to Charlie's house? What happened? What motivated you guys to go to Charlie's house? And then was the plan to kill him all along, or did you guys just go see him and then something triggered you guys to act that way? What happened?
So he saw, I let him see Rex's suicide note. So those 8 months, like even when we would hang out with Mariah, and then like we brewed this hatred towards Charlie, because like Sean knew Charlie personally. He knew, like, and any of Rex's close friends will tell you, like, I still to this day have his friends write me, like, Charlie was a sick individual when it came to the drug, like the pills or whatever. Like, there's a lot of people's lives he screwed up by introducing Rex's friends as teenagers to these pills and stuff. Like, and Sean was involved years prior and knew how Charlie was, and he was just like, to know that that was a push, that isn't 100% why Rex killed himself. It's not, but to know that it had a influence, that really disturbed Sean. Sean was very angry at Charlie as well. So I showed him the letter, and he basically took it like that Charlie needed to go too, because Rex states in it, like, if it wasn't for my dad, like, I wouldn't be going through this issue. Like, I wouldn't be going through this. My life wouldn't be so stuck. And I took that like, well, he needs to go. So did Sean. So that wasn't our plan, but it ended up just happening.
So you guys go to Charlie's house for what? You guys go over there and talk to him. What happens?
Okay, so the day prior to going down there, we went to Sean's parents and we stole all their guns. I broke into his stepdad's gun safe, and we had already had some guns, but we were able to come up with a lot more from his gun safe, and we were going to go shoot up Blacksburg. This was Easter weekend, so that was our plan. We were going to do it on Easter because there's a parade that they have. So we were going to go shoot up Blacksburg during the parade. That was our plan. But it turned because Charlie called me that morning and was like, will you come get Easter money for the kids' baskets? I want you to make a basket for the children for me. And I was like, sure. So I wasn't mad. I wasn't like, whatever then. Like, that wasn't like what I wanted to do. So we ended up going down there and talking to him and getting what we needed to get so we could go to the store, and we left for something. So we left for something and ended up coming back. And when we came back, that's when everything just started like going downhill. Charlie started saying things that irritated me, and I just blacked out. I just got very angry.
So he made you mad, and that's what led to you stabbing him?
Yes, he kept saying, like, how could Rex do this to me? How could he leave me? Why would he do this to our family? Like, me type thing, and that really bothered me. So I got angry, and I had the knife on me that Sean got me that I had. I carry knives around anyway, but I had that particular one on with me, and I was just like, you know what, I'm tired of that. And he kept saying, I just want to be with Rex. So I was like, okay, well, here, let me help you. And then I just started stabbing him.
Do you remember stabbing him? Like, what was going through your mind? How are you feeling when you were stabbing him?
Okay, so, and I tell everyone, like, it happened so fast to me. I know, like, I remember the first stab. I remember he was sitting on the couch, and I'm above him, and I, like, stabbed him towards his midsection. Like, his heart area was what I was hoping to get. And I remember, like, how easy it went in, and when it came out, I didn't see any blood. So I'm like, did it happen? Did I just, like, did I do this? And he looked at me, and he was like, what are you doing? And I realized, oh, it's working. So then I just kind of, like, I didn't black out, like, I remember, but I don't, like, everything just happened so fast. So then I just started repeatedly stabbing him. But he fought really bad, and that's how Sean ended up jumping in on it. Was I got extensions in my hair, like, right before my birthday, and Charlie was, like, grabbing my hair in the middle of me stabbing him, and when his hands got under my extensions, those tracks, I was doomed. He got me. So I was like, Sean, help me. Like, this man is beating me. And Sean hit him in his head with a crowbar. And then I continued. That's when I just started stabbing his throat and trying to cut his head off. So I was just irritated then.
And so you're actually trying to decapitate him?
Yes, he basically almost was. I read my autopsy reports show that all of them are violent enough to go in and pull out.
Okay.
So it's like connection to connection and then pull.
So the knife was going, like, all the way through his body and out?
Yeah.
What was Sean's reaction during that time? Was he just panicking, or was he excited, or?
Sean, I don't know what he was doing while I was doing that. Like, he wasn't saying, like, stop or what are you doing or nothing. Like, I don't even think I paid attention to him. So afterwards, when Charlie's just laying there and I take the picture, then I noticed Sean, because I wanted Sean to take the picture with me. I wanted him to hug me or touch me or kiss me or something. Like, I was super excited. And when I realized, like, his energy was, like, kind of nervous, kind of scared. Well, I can't say scared. His energy was nervous. He threw up. He was, like, freaking out. So I realized, like, uh-oh, did we not do something right? Like, I was irritated with him. I was so mad at him because I just wanted his energy to match mine. But I think he realized, like, this wasn't what he was ready for. I think it was fantasy to him, and then it happened.
So what, after you killed Charlie, what is it that, like, compelled you to want to take that picture?
Oh, because I was a part of, like, the Murderabilia world, and I know how many killers there are in prison that get no credit. So I was excited. That was my trophy. That was, like, I did that for Rex, like, and myself. And I wanted everyone to know, like, I was proud of my work. I want my work to be shown because I know that they'll hide a lot. Like, I don't know what they're going to put out. I don't know if anyone would ever see what he did. I was happy. I was very excited, and I felt alive for the first time in so long that I just wanted to show the world that, look what I did.
Did you, when you were taking that picture, did you have the intention of being like, this is going to be my moniker, like, I'm going to be the Selfie Killer?
I didn't call myself the Selfie Killer. The news did. Dateline, or Crime Watch did. I guess Chris Hansen, one of them. I'm Brunette Bomber. I had big plans. I never called myself the Selfie Killer until they did. But I dig it. I like it. But no, I was a part of, like, the Murderabilia world. So I knew there's so many killers that are unknown and just sit in prison and just rot lonely. So I'm like, no, F that. If I'm going to prison, I want to be known. I will be known. And I wanted to show the world, like, this is what loyalty is. Yes, Rex and I had a very, very toxic, crazy relationship, but it was also beautiful. But when you say till death, it's really till death. And Rex left that in his letter to do certain things. So I completed what he wanted.
And when you did hear that name, the Selfie Killer, how did that make you feel? How do you feel about that title?
I like it. I like it so much I put it on me. That's me.
Now, being in the prison, is that kind of like what you're known for? Do you get people that when new inmates come into the prison or anything, are they like, oh my gosh, it's the Selfie Killer?
Yes. I've signed a lot of girls' like legs or arms, and they've tattooed my signature on them. They love it. They love it because that's, I don't know, it's important to ride for your man. And that was the last thing I could do for him. I don't care if I have to rot in prison forever. Like, I did what I did for him.
As someone who grew up in the Murderabilia world and all of this kind of stuff, and like kind of idolized notorious murderers and stuff like that, how does it feel to be considered part of that group now, to be like identified as one of the infamous killers that are out there?
I'm kind of sad because I wish I could have took my story. Like, I wish I could have done what I wanted to do. I wish I could have like made my own mark, because I kind of made Rex's mark. I'll always be known as the killer, the girl that killed the father-in-law because the husband killed himself. Like, I'll always be, it was all kind of for him. And I wish I could have I had plans that I wanted to do. And I mean, it is what it is. Like, the only thing I regret is leaving my children. I miss them so terribly. But other than that, I don't, like, it is what it is. I just make the best of it.
You say that you had other plans. What were those other plans? What was the mark that you wanted to make?
I wanted to be a mass murderer. I wanted to shoot up a parade in my town. I wanted to be known as Brunette Bomber. I like thrill kills. I think they're cool. I think that's what I'm considered, as a thrill killer. But I wanted to be a mass murderer. I wanted to be known like James Holmes and Eric and Dylan and Anders Breivik. I wanted to be with them.
So, considering how everything's transpired now, do you have regrets that you didn't follow through with those other plans, or have you had like a change of heart? Like, how do you feel about all that now?
No, I still wish I would have did it. I wanted to be Brunette Bomber. I'm okay though. Like, I wouldn't change it. I love Rex. I like my story. I love my story, so I wouldn't change it.
So at the end of it, so you guys stab and kill Charlie. What happens after that? You guys are sitting in the house and he's dead. Now what?
So afterwards, we just stayed there. I had to check. Papa was in the other room, Rex's grandfather. So Sean got Charlie's wallet and got the money out of it. And this is something that irritated me so bad, is because Sean did get sick. He threw up and all over the floor. So he gets his wallet and gets the money out of his wallet, but then wipes his prints off the wallet while he's standing next to a pile of his DNA. And that part irritates me so bad. Like, I think about it so bad. I'm like, what was going through his head? Like, why would you wipe your fingerprints off when you're like, there's a pile of vomit that's going to lead right to you?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think about that a lot. But after that, we went and checked on Papa. He was in the bed. He heard Charlie, and I told him, I said, Papa Allen, Charlie had hit his knee on he called this thing a Cheshire. I don't know what it is. It's like a dresser and a table and I don't know. It's just something in the living room. I said, Charlie had hit his knee on it. We needed money to go get him Band-Aids to fix it. So he gave us money, and he thought we were just going to go get Band-Aids for him. He had no idea he was dead on the couch in the living room. But Papa couldn't get out of bed. So before we left, me and Sean considered killing him, suffocating him, because I didn't want him to, I guess I didn't want to hurt him. But neither one of us had it, like, in our hearts to do that to Papa. We left him. Rex would have probably killed me if I did that. But so we cut the phone lines, and I went to the kitchen, and I made him soup and a sandwich, and we fed him and made sure he was okay, and then we left.
Did you think that did you think at all about the future of Papa? Like, what would happen to him? I mean, he'd just be stuck in bed.
I knew somebody would come eventually. Mm-hmm. The neighbor, she came that night. I didn't know she would come that soon, but she testified against me. she bought pills from Charlie. So she went and picked up their prescription, and that night around 8, she ended up going to the house and finding Charlie. She found him, and she ended up taking care of Papa. He ended up going to North Carolina with his other son. He only had one living son, and he died 8 months later. But it's weird because they all died 8 months apart. Rex died, Charlie died, Alan died, all 8 months apart. I find that strange.
So, after you guys kill Charlie, you take your infamous selfie, and you guys take care of Papa and then head out. What happens next?
Okay. We go to a few stores. We went and got gas where they have the video. Then we went to a sporting store to get more ammunition because we stole Sean's parents' guns. Then we were supposed to go to New Orleans. That's what the goal was. We were going to go to New Orleans. And then that's where we were just going to blend in with the street people and stay in the swamps. That was the goal. But we ended up in Tennessee for the night. And that's when, like, everything just got crazy between Sean and I.
What got crazy between you and Sean?
I think, okay, so when I got released from the mental hospital, like a week prior, they gave me Klonopin, and I had that prescription, and I was not taking it. I don't like taking pills. So I think he was taking them, and it was just changing him. Like, he was super out of it. He was, like, being weird. Like, I think he knew we were kind of, like, screwed, but we really weren't. Like, I feel like we would have succeeded if we just had a clear head, if we just stuck to the plan. And I think he kind of lost hope. He was kind of scared because I was being extremely reckless. And we just got distant. We weren't partners anymore.
At least through the media, what they say is that you and Sean were intending to kill more people. And there's a story about you guys going to a rest stop and you encouraging Sean that you were going to lure some girls over to Sean, and then you were going to tell Sean to kill those girls, and that he backed out of that. What can you tell us about that story and the accuracy behind that story?
I did do that. There's these two, like, I think they're in college. It's these two girls, and we were at a scenery area. And I think it was, like, almost in Tennessee. And they were taking pictures over, like, at an overlook thing. Mm-hmm. And I told Sean, I said, I want their phones, because Sean broke my phone because I kept taking pictures. I said, I want their phone, or because I kept posting pictures. I had already posted Charlie's picture. Well, I said, you have to kill them. I want to see you kill them. And I gave him the gun, and he was like, okay, like, he was super down or whatever. I wanted him to shoot them so I could get their phones, and then I had every intentions of, like, helping him throw them over the lift. They wouldn't have been found, and then we could have took their vehicle. We were in a Jeep with band stickers, like, in Virginia plates. They're going to find us. And the girls had an out-of-state car. So he didn't do it. He wouldn't do it. And he wouldn't give me back the gun.
What was his...
So I was going to stab them, but I was scared that the girl was going, there was two of them, and he wasn't going to help me. So I knew I could definitely have gotten one, but I was scared the other girl would have, like, ran or did something, because we weren't caught, like, we weren't suspects yet. Like, they didn't know about Charlie yet. So he ruined the plan. So I got in the Jeep. I was very upset with him, yes.
So did you actually lure
Because he
the
lied
girls?
to me, because he was down. He promised to be down for everything. And don't feed me these hopes and dreams, like, and we already started. Like, what's wrong with you? Why wouldn't you do it? And then why wouldn't you give me the gun back?
Did you actually lure the girls over and then he bitched out, or what happened?
Yeah, I was conversating with them. They were, like, heavy in conversation. If he just would have got the other girl, we would have been okay. I could have stabbed the one girl and thrown her over the thing. Like, it would have worked out. But he wouldn't even come over there.
What was his
I had them ready.
explanation? What did he say? Like, what was his reason to say no?
That he couldn't do it. That's all he said.
So what
and
was
so I told him, I was like, you're such a coward. You promised me that we were going to go on this Mickey and Mallory. That was one thing we bonded over, was natural born killers. He swore that we were Mickey and Mallory in reality. and then he just kind of like failed. He couldn't do it. And I don't know if it's because the medicine was like fogging up his mind, or if like, I don't know. I love Sean. I'm going to get that out there. I love Sean. I will always like, if Sean told me there's nothing that he could tell me to do that I wouldn't do for him. Besides leave him alone. I'm not going to leave him alone because I have a lot of answers, or a lot of questions I need answered. But he was very coward-like. Like, don't promise me you're going to do something and then like get scared or whatever. I felt like that was wrong.
So after you lured the girls over and he said no, he couldn't do it, what was the energy in the car? You guys get back in the car, then what happens? Are you guys fighting? Are you pissed off? What's happening?
I was silent. When I get mad, I'll like freak out, say a bunch of mean things, and then I just won't talk. So I didn't talk to him after I told him a couple things.
You posted...
But he kept telling me he loved me. He kept saying, I'm sorry, I love you, like, I just can't do this. So I was like, whatever. I felt bad, but I didn't feel bad in a sense.
Well, your guys' whole plan is you guys are going to go on a killing spree and kill more people, and now he's telling you that he can't do it.
Exactly.
So did that change the energy between you two? Did it start creating conflict between you two?
Yeah, it hurt my feelings. It hurt my feelings really bad. Like, why start something and then stop in the middle? Mm-hmm. Like, no, we already killed someone. Why are we going to go to prison just for that? Like, let's do this. Let's go big. Like, and he wanted that. He was obsessed with all that too. It's not just me. I didn't like manipulate him. I didn't like influence him. He fed those promises to me. I've been thinking about murder all my life since I was a teenager. I've always wanted to kill people. And there's like solid facts that I flip out and feel that way. But I always held back. And then Sean fueled that. He fueled that fire in me. He let my demons dance. And you cannot promise someone that, hey, like, this is what we're about to do. I got your back till the end, like, ride or die type stuff, and then bail in the middle. I don't understand. So yeah, the energy definitely changed.
So leading up to this point, you started posting online. You posted the selfie picture. And you said that Sean broke your phone. So is he freaking out that you're posting it online? Is that why he started getting anxious and worried?
No, because he was taking that medicine. That medicine, I think, made him weird. I guess maybe it balanced him and made him normal. Made him, like, not... maybe, like, it just made him not want to do stuff. It gave him a clear mind or something. I don't know.
So... what was the reaction on social media when you started posting your selfie and stuff?
Well, I posted it on Tumblr, and I had like a few friends from there that I was texting, and they all text me, and they're like, is that fake? Like, what's going on? And then they're like, that looks so real. That looks so cool. Like, and I was just like, LOL, yeah, it's fake.
So you guys planned on killing those girls, and Sean backs out, and now there's an energy shift between you guys. Now there's tension between you guys, and you guys start driving. What happens after that? How do things lead up to you deciding to shoot Sean?
Oh, well, that was the day before. So we drove to Tennessee, and something happened in Tennessee that I don't want to talk about because they're still like doing whatever with it. But he chickened out over that too, and I was just mad at him. We ended up doing something, and then we went to the hotel. And when we were in the hotel, it was after we just got out of that Jeep and were able just to lay in bed. We showered, and then we laid in bed, and we just thought about it. And he was better. He was more, he told me sorry, and that we were going to get through this, and it was just going to be better when we woke up. So in my head, I'm like, oh, this mother effer is going to kill himself in the sleep. So I'm not going to sleep because he's going to leave me or he's going to kill himself. But he didn't. He held me all night, and we were perfectly fine. And then we woke up, and we tried to get to New Orleans, and then we ended up in North Carolina. Because once again, he lied about knowing how to read a map. I don't understand those real big maps, but he promised me that, well, he told me this whole story that he was gone for 10 years because he was in the military, which I didn't know until the detective told me that he was in jail, or he was in prison for 10 years. But those 10 years he was gone out of our lives. He told me he was in the military overseas, and that he had all this training. He knew how to kill, he knew how to read maps, he knew how to like survive. So I'm like, oh yeah, this is perfect. We're gonna be okay, because I kind of like, yeah, I know what to do, but his knowledge will help so much. And he couldn't read a map. So I drove. I started driving. I said, you know what, get in the passenger seat. You're not, like, this is my journey. You're out of it. Sit over there. And I just ignored him. So that's how that went.
So did you start becoming suspicious about his past and his knowledge and stuff once you guys are on the run?
I really didn't. I was just like, this idiot's a liar. I didn't think that he lied. Like, I didn't think he lied about being a Marine or in the military. But I was like, why would he lie about knowing how to read a map? Like, that's such a stupid lie. Mm-hmm. Because we didn't have the GPS wasn't working for some reason.
Okay, so you guys you're trying to get to New Orleans, and on the way there, what transpires that leads to you getting upset with him and deciding that you want to shoot him?
So it was hours later. We were just driving through, and I kept going in this same circle. And I could not get off this interstate that was in like this real country area, real like backwoods area. So I saw a sign for the Parkway, the Blue Ridge Parkway, and I've been on that in Virginia. I used to go through it in Roanoke. So I was like, I'm just going to go over there and I'm going to park and I'm just going to sleep, because I was tired at this point. Well, once I got there, I pulled over and I just stared at Sean. And I looked at him and I was like rubbing his beard and his hair and trying to like wake him up. And he was just so droggy, and like he was trying to talk to me and he was just slurring. And it gave me like flashbacks of Rex when he would be like that, which irritated me so bad. Just like, I don't know. I don't like seeing people like that. It makes me angry. Mm-hmm. Well, so I noticed that he had another gun in his pocket, so I took the gun out of his pocket, and when I did, there was a letter to his mother, and he was apologizing, and basically it like triggered my heart. I had like, it felt like I was reading Rex's suicide letter, so I was like, God, am I making Sean kill himself too? Like, what am I doing to these boys? Like, do I make people want to kill themselves? Like, am I that horrible? And it made me super sad. So I was like, no, you're not. I'm not going to let him kill himself and leave me and him get to have that control of leaving me. So I got out of the Jeep. I took the gun that was in his pocket, and I noticed there was a jogger. She was the only one out there. So I shot at her, and she fell. So I was like, all right, she's not going to tell. She's dead. I thought she was dead. So then I go around the Jeep, and I pull Sean out, and that's when he started to like come to, and he looked at me. He's like, what's going on? What are we doing? And I held the gun up. I said, I hate you. I told him, I was like, I never loved you. I used you for your guns. I used you for you. Like, I really hate you right now. I can't believe you're trying to leave me. And I shot him in the face. I thought he was dead. He dropped instantly. And I didn't want to look at him because I do love Sean. I love Sean a lot. He killed for me, so I didn't want to hurt him, but he hurt me for trying to leave me. And so I took a picture of his face so I could look at it to see if I blew it off or what I did to it. So I noticed that like there was so much blood, and like this was like blown off. So I was like, okay, he's dead. He's not moving. I like kicked him kinda, and he just laid there. He didn't respond. So I got in the Jeep and I left. I left him there because I knew somebody would find him and maybe help him if he wasn't dead. I don't think I was trying to kill him. I just wanted to hurt him. I don't know why I shot him. He just hurt my feelings. Like, why are you guys all killing yourselves? Like, I don't know. It irritated me.
But when you drove off, you were under the impression he was dead?
Yeah, basically, yeah. I did post something. I posted the gun on Instagram, and I was like, I think I posted about Sean being dead, or I texted. And I posted the gun, and I said, okay, leave me alone. I'm going to try to figure out what I'm doing. I can't remember what I said exactly, but I was like, I'm on my way to hell with my husband. Just leave me alone. If you don't leave me alone, more people will die. Because at that time, my mom was blowing the phone up. My sister was blowing the phone up. The marshals were at my mom's house. They wouldn't leave my mom. They wouldn't leave her at all because they thought I was going to come home. They freaking captive Mariah. They took Mariah. They took anyone who had contact with me or who they thought I would go to. So I was just like, look, I'm gone. I'm way away. Leave me alone. Leave my family alone. Or I'm going to just kill everybody.
So what's your plan after that? You get in the car and you drive off. What are you going to go do now?
I'm going to Florida to my papa. That's where I was going. Because I knew how to get to Florida. F New Orleans, that plan's over. I just want to get to the swamps with my pop. My pop will save me. He'll make me feel better. And I found it. I got the interstate to get down there to Florida. I drove it so many times with my mama. That's where I'm from. I'm from Florida. So I was heading for those swamps. I didn't want to go to New Orleans swamps no more. And I don't know how. I think because I posted something or I was on the phone, but they dinged it. They got it. And that's how they found my location. And I think it might have been because I posted the picture, but they found my location through my phone.
So how much sooner, how much time passes between you shooting Sean, shooting the jogger, you leaving, and then you getting arrested?
I don't even think an hour. I don't even think it was an hour. Because I got caught on the interstate in North Carolina. I was still in this little secluded area, country area.
And so what happens? You're driving and then you just see cop cars, or what's going on?
So I'm driving, and yeah, it's it was a two-way interstate, but then it had this way, that way, and there was grass in the middle. And the cops were on the other side. So I was like, whew, okay, they're gone. They're not coming for me. But I got nervous because there was a lot of them. And I was like, just be calm. And they ended up turning in the grass, flipped around, turned the lights on, and were coming after me. So I ended up calling this stupid girl. I don't know why I called her. I had talked to her for months prior, and I told her that I was going to shoot up something. I told her all my plans. She was another girl in the Murderabilia world. She's a horrible person now. But I wanted to call her because she was my friend at the time, and she was fake. I thought she understood me, and she was just fake the whole time. So I called her. She has a whole recording of me getting arrested. So I'm blasting Skrillex, feeling like I'm on Spring Breakers, and all these cops are coming behind me, and I'm like, oh, what should I do? Do I have a shootout with them? Should I just let them get me, go to prison, be famous? What should I do? Should I kill myself? And I think she told me to turn myself in. But I wasn't feeling that. I'm not doing that. I'm making them catch me. So I ended up putting the phone down in my lap. And I'm going as fast as I possibly can on the interstate. And they freaking threw the strips out on the thing. My tires popped. But I thought they shot me because I didn't see the strip. And I thought they were shooting at me, so I get my gun, and I'm ready. I put the window halfway down, and I'm ready to shoot at them. But I was going so fast, and then my car stopped immediately. The Jeep, those strips, things popped it, and it died. So then they came, and I had my seatbelt on, and I put the gun in my lap, and they were on each side. And they were like, put your hands up. So I was like, my car's still in drive. Can I put it in park? And they're like, no. So I'm freaking out because it's still rolling a little bit. And so they ended up smashing my window because I took the gun and I was going to put it on the passenger side where there's more guns, way more guns. And so they smashed my window and grabbed me by my hair and yanked me out while I still had the seatbelt on and while my car is still in freaking drive. But it shredded my belly. I had a tube top dress on, and when they pulled me out the window, it was scraping my entire body because my dress came down. And they did not care at all. They were very harsh. They were very brutal. And I just laughed. They weren't hurting me. I'm not going to give them the benefit of that. And it made them mad. They were very abusive. Those cops were so abusive.
What do they do?
I was half naked. My freaking dress comes down, and I'm bleeding to death. I still have scars on my body from where the glass had cut me. Mm-hmm. And they had the nerve to grab me by my hair. I don't understand how they can just snap, how they can get somebody like that, whatever. But when they threw me on the ground, and while they had me on the ground, two of the officers had their boots on my legs, holding my legs down, using their boots, not their hands. One had it on the back of my neck, a boot, and the other ones were like really rough, handcuffing me. But I just feel like that's foul. Why are your freaking shoes on me? Like, that's not cool. I wasn't like super resisting. I was just talking a whole lot of crap, like, but I wasn't like fighting them.
Did they immediately just throw you in the back of a car, or did they leave you on the sidewalk, or how did it go? Or the street or whatever?
Well, then they pulled me up and they saw I was bleeding. So they let the ambulance people clean me up. It was really bad. And then they put me in the front seat of a cop car. And I sat there while they searched the Jeep.
Did you ride in the front seat on the way back to the jail?
I don't remember. I just remember sitting there. I don't even remember going to the jail, I'm not gonna lie. I remember showering there, and I remember the lady was super rude. Like, she was super harsh taking my extensions out. That hurt really bad. She was like pulling half my hair out. I remember that. But they ended up, like, the jail didn't hold people like me. Like, they held like drunk people. Like, there was maybe like 6 people there, and they put me in a drunk cell, like where you go, like, it wasn't even a real jail cell. And I was held there for like 3 days, I think.
So how was your treatment in the jail cell, and then where did you go after that?
It was horrible. They gave me a mat for the floor. It was super dirty. There was no bathroom in there. There was a little drain, that like circle drain, and I was like, I have to pee really bad. Like, can I go to the restroom, please? And they're like, well, you see the hole there. I was like, what? I'm not going in a drain. I'm not an animal. And they said that I acted like an animal. If I'm going to kill people and do the things I did, that's how I deserve to be treated. They were so rude. They were very, very rude.
You get ripped out of the car. The cops rough you up. The lady is ripping your extensions out. And now you're in the jail cell. You're in the drunk tank. What's going through your mind? Like, how do you feel at that moment?
I talked to investigators before they threw me in there. The FBI came because I did something on federal grounds. So they came. I was calm. And I felt like, man, this sucks. I'm going to prison. But in a sense, I was like, at least this crap's over. Like, whatever. Sean just kind of blew it for me. And I couldn't find this, like, couldn't hype myself up. I just wanted to go to my papa. I didn't care about anything else.
When the investigators come, is that your interrogation video that gets circulated online?
Yeah. That's right after everything.
How was that process with them asking you questions and things like that?
It was frustrating because I hate people like them. I hate detectives, I hate cops, I hate all that stuff. So it's just like, I don't want these people in my face. But I told them everything so we could hurry up and get it over with. I just wanted to get back to Virginia, I think.
So you're sitting in the you've gone through the interrogation process. You've been, I mean, the jig is up, right? You know that you're in prison now. So you're sitting and thinking about your future. What are you thinking?
That I was gonna die. I told them, I was like, cool, like, you got me, give me the death penalty. I killed people, kill me. That was before they shut it off in Virginia. We still had it for another year. I was just ready to go. I wanted to be with Rex. I just wanted to go to sleep forever.
So how long are you in the jail in North Carolina before you get transferred over to Virginia?
I think like 3 or 4 days. I don't think it was a week. It wasn't that long. I went to court there because I did stuff there. I shot 2 people on their land. And then they expedited me back to Virginia. State got me. I wish they would have kept me. I wish the feds would have got me. I wish I could have done federal time for shooting them.
Why do you wish that?
And then state time. because I always feel like the feds are better. Like, federal prisons they offer a lot with education. They offer a lot with, like, programming. It's just more a home-type feel. Like, I knew I was going to go for a long time, so, you know, I would love to, like, build my education, build, like, myself, do productive things. And the feds just offer that far more. And I heard that, you know, there's not a Virginia federal prison, but I would have got transferred around, and Tallahassee has a swimming pool, I heard. So I really wanted to be able to do that.
At what point did you learn about that Sean was still alive and learn about that he had lied to you about his military service and stuff? And what was your reaction?
So they told me he was dead in the cop car. When I was driving there, when I was getting drove to the thing, they're like, you know, your boyfriend's dead. Well, they called him my husband. They're like, your husband's dead. I was like, yeah, I know. And then I realized, oh, I said, what are you talking about? They're like, Sean. I was like, Sean Paul. I was like, oh. I said, he's dead? And they said, yes, they confirmed it. So I thought he was dead the whole time. I'm getting drove there. And then the investigator, Detective Captain New was his name. And he told me that Sean was in the hospital and he was talking and telling everything. Which I don't believe. I don't believe he was. I think they were lying to me, because if I shot you in the throat and it came out your face, I really don't see you talking right away.
Yeah. What was your reaction when you...
Detectives are liars. They lie a lot.
Yeah.
What was my reaction to him being alive?
Yeah.
Nothing. I didn't care. I didn't want Sean to go to jail, but I didn't know what to do about it.
Were you happy or sad that you didn't kill him?
When I realized he was alive, I wanted to be with him. I wanted to somehow be in the same jail with him, or I just needed to talk to him when they said he was alive. So it did give me a very anxious feeling. And I had zero communication with him. They wouldn't even, when I got back to Virginia, they wouldn't even put us in the same jail. They put him in a whole nother jail out in Dublin, I believe, or in Christiansburg, and I stayed in Dixie in Salem.
Do you have any regrets about shooting him or anything like that?
Shooting Sean. I don't know. There's a question I told you before when we talked, like, personally, like, there's a question I want to ask him, and I think that will determine. Right now I'm numb when I think about it. I don't, like, have, like, a solid feeling on how I feel. I'm just numb, but I need to ask him a certain question, and I think that would determine whether or not he deserved to get shot, or, like, it would make me feel a little bad.
So depending on that answer depends on whether you're going to feel how you feel about shooting him?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Right now, though, I currently feel numb.
Okay. Well, so after you get transferred back to Virginia, let's get into the trial process. What was your trial like, and what was the verdict from that?
The trial was super annoying. I went to my preliminary. Yes. It doesn't want to come out my mouth. I went to that hearing, and they just treated me so cruel. First it was second degree, then it was first degree, then it was capital. Like, they didn't know what they wanted to charge me with. And then the trial, I was in jail. I got there in April. My trial was in November. I had a jury trial, and I was very upset with how they had me look. My mother was allowed to give me my dress, so I had a black dress on, but they suited me up like Hannibal Lecter, and that really irritated me to have my mother have to see me that way.
And what do you mean by Hannibal Lecter? Did they have like a face mask on you and stuff like that?
So I had a black dress on, and underneath my dress, they had this, like, it looked like a waist trainer, like a corset on, which had a big, huge black box, and they said because I had a lot of people in the jail write me saying they were going to break me out. So when I got transported, because it was a 30-minute drive, they had to do it real sneaky, and they shut everything down as if it was, you know how, like, funerals get shut down? Like, the streets and stuff, they would do that. And I'm just like, that's ridiculous. They would have, like, officers on other streets with massive guns. Like, it was just extra. My town was so extra about it. But They had the thing on my tummy in the box, and they said if I look at anyone or give them any signals, they're going to do an 8-second shot to my kidneys, which will make me drop, which wasn't fair because they also took my right leg and they put this brace on it that went from my ankle to my thigh, and if I were to straighten my leg completely to run, it would ram my stuff, my thumb out really hard. And then they had me shackled, and I had slipper shoes on, flats, which they latched on this plastic string to my flats so I could only inch walk, and then they had me double handcuffed to my waist, and then they put the mask on me. They put this mask on me that had these chain things on my mouth because they didn't want me to talk or spit. I spit a lot on them, but I wasn't going to in my trial, but they still, whatever, put that on. So when my mom came in, they took that off, but I still had everything else on. They would take it off when I could speak. When my mom saw me, she ran towards me when she was coming in for her witness testify as my witness, and she went to run towards me, and they drew their guns on her. So it was really hard. I wanted to kill all of them for disrespecting my mom like that, for threatening her like that. It was really emotional. It was really messed up. I feel bad for doing that to my mom.
The judge that you had was someone that your family had a history with, right? And he knew about...
Yeah, he did all our life.
And so what was his reaction when you came into his courtroom? Did he recognize you? Did he say something to you?
So my mother, in the beginning when we first moved to Virginia, my mom was trying to get her life together, try to get herself... She's a wonderful woman. My mom's incredible, but she was still young and she was kind of lost. She was going through a divorce, so she did get in a little bit of trouble with the law, and so the judge knew her a lot. Judge Long knew her. And so when I walked in for my for the first one, I'm not going to say her name. Of course, you're her daughter. So that right there was effed up. But he did a lot of our custody doings between my mother and my uncles, and he knew me. And then I got in trouble as a kid. I got kicked out of school because I was gonna bomb it. I got in a lot of trouble for the attempt of shooting the school up, and he was the judge that put me on probation and made me go to alternative school and stuff like that. And then also the judge that sent me to juvie when I stole my mom's car. He dealt with me as a juvenile. He knew me, and he knew my family. I felt like he shouldn't have been able to be my judge for that because he was already judgmental in his head.
Yeah, so he had a prejudice against you by the time you got there. Do you feel like and then before we get into that, what about your lawyer? What was he like?
My lawyer was a joke. Ryan Hamlet. He never did a murder case. He was court appointed. I didn't want my family wasn't able to get me a whatever lawyer, a good lawyer. So I got a court appointed one, and he was used to doing drunk in publics or car accidents, little cases. He was young. He just never did a crime like mine, a case like mine. So he was very clueless, and he didn't fight for me. And he made me be quiet a lot. He constantly told me, be quiet, be quiet. And I feel like in a trial, you have to defend your life. That's my life. I'm not going to let it fall in other people's hands. I don't want someone else to speak for what I went through. That's my trial, my life. And he constantly told me to be quiet, and I didn't like that. But they refused to let me get another one.
Why did they refuse to let you get another one?
They wouldn't. I requested it the whole time I was in the jail, and they wouldn't let me have access or communication to the outside for 3 months. Not my family, not anyone. I was able to speak. The only person they let me talk to was the news. And I asked the guy that did the Chris Hurst, who ended up being in my trial since he interviewed me in the beginning of my stuff before I had went to court, he ended up being a witness to an ongoing murder investigation, and so he had to come to my trial. But that's the only person they let me talk to.
So do you feel, well, in your trial, did they talk about your mental health issues and that you basically had gone to the mental hospital and then you got released early, and that you had expressed that you were having homicidal ideations and suicidal ideations? Was that talked about in your trial?
Very rare. They did bring it up, and the lady did come who was at the hospital, but they didn't care. Like, they brushed it over. They were just like, it was nothing. But they did admit to the fact that I did go in there. I did say I was going to kill people, my father-in-law. I did give them my plan, and they released me. And they admitted to that. I'm just thankful they admitted to that, because now my mom believes me that I wasn't trying to check myself out. I was really begging for help, and they denied it.
Do you feel like if you hadn't gotten checked out early that things would have been different?
I don't know. I can't answer that.
Do you feel like, considering that you had a judge that had a history and a prejudice towards your family, and that you were given a lawyer that didn't have experience with homicide cases, that you didn't get a fair trial?
Yeah, my trial was bogus. I want a new trial so bad. I just want them to understand me. I want them to understand, yeah, I was going through something effed up. But I needed help. Why did the state deny me help? Like, if I'm in there telling you, hey, I want to kill someone, I want to kill people, that's what I'm going to do, and I don't care. Like, help me. Go lock me up in somewhere and shoot me up with some freaking medicine or something. Like, calm me down. Help me find myself.
Now that you're incarcerated, and now that you are at a prison that is supposed to be a medical prison, have you gotten any understanding of your mental health? Have you talked to any people, and have you been diagnosed with anything?
I talked to this guy when I was in jail, Dr. Latanika, and he diagnosed me as I have antisocial behavior, I'm bipolar, he said I'm manic, he said I have multi-personality disorder. I think he just diagnosed all the same things that anybody that kills somebody gets.
So how do you feel about
He didn't
this?
really listen to me. I feel like I'm fine. I'm okay now. I feel like what my problem was no one told me how to grieve my husband. No one told me how to properly get over Rex's death. And in my head, murder connected me with Rex. You know my story with him, the bond we shared over that. And I feel like I was lost. I didn't know how to connect with him or find him, and I needed someone to help me figure out how to deal with his death. Mm-hmm. Instead of, oh, hey, I'm going to kill someone, I'm going to kill some people, and then I'm going to feel Rex again, because I stopped feeling him. I didn't feel him anymore.
So at the end of your trial, you get sentenced to life in prison of 600 years without the possibility of parole. How did you feel when you got that sentencing?
I laughed. It was ridiculous. I said, you're joking, right? It took them 23 minutes to determine that I was supposed to be caged up for the rest of my life. Did you not consider my children or my mental health? I just needed help. How can you throw me away in prison? You know what I learned in prison? I learned how to manipulate. I learned how to be a drug dealer. I learned how to manipulate officers and get what I want. I learned some really foul ways of living that I didn't do at home. I learned how to be a criminal. I don't have any help. They didn't help me in here. That's what they offer us. They offer us nothing but four walls to stare at nonstop. And of course your mind finds ways, oh, this is how I'm gonna survive, this is how I'm gonna get out of here, this is how I'm gonna whatever, and it's bad. There's no positivity within these walls. And I feel like I should have been sent to the hospital. They should have put me in the hospital to where I could have talked to a doctor that could help me rewire my mind, that could help me balance the chemicals in there, that could help me. Instead, I became everything they labeled me as. And it's not fair.
the judge, in his final statements towards you, said that you are evil personified, or true evil personified, or something like that. How do you feel about being labeled that and being called that?
Well, I think it's beautiful. If you think I'm evil, then so be it. That's how you see me. But one thing about it, I think what I did was very emotional. I think it was very, like, I don't see evil within it at all. I see love behind it. I did it for love. So how can you call me evil?
So what can you tell us? So now you're serving a life sentence without the possibility of parole. What's it? And it's coming up to 10 years now of you being incarcerated. What is your new life like? What's it like in prison? What do you do to keep your time busy and things like that?
Well, I've calmed down a lot. When I first got here, I was so bad. You could not tell me I was not Harley Quinn. I was constantly getting in trouble, fighting against authority, fighting against, like, I hate, like, someone thinking they can control me. It's so hard when the officers come in here and they're, like, 18 years old, and they're telling me, no, go to your room. What? No. You go to the room. You go sit in the corner. Like, my life is controlled by these babies, by people who are my son's age, and it's hard to, like, I'm good. My life is good. I'm not going to complain. I miss my home, but it's just ridiculous. Prison's ridiculous. It's a joke in here. Prison doesn't benefit anything, and the officers are worse than the criminals. It's just a sick game in here. It's a sick world. I feel like I'm in a snow globe, and it's just the way people act within these walls. They would never act at home. It's just a weird world. It wouldn't be, I feel like if I didn't have a family, like, I could do this time. It wouldn't suck. The only thing that's hard about time is missing my children so bad and watching them grow. I miss my mom and my sister, and I just miss everybody. But, like, to keep myself distracted, I just completed a prison fellowship program that was 15 months long, and they offer stuff like that in here, like a lot of, like, mindful meditation stuff and, like, self-building. So I'm super proud of myself for graduating that. Like, and I feel like I grew and I learned a lot with it. But I was super nervous because it was the first thing I've ever graduated. But I did put a lot of effort into it. I put a whole, and like you said, like, it was a pure, like, Christian, Jesus loving environment. And I'm like there, I'm Jesus. I'm God. Like, it's just, I battled a lot because a lot of the work was related to self-building for Christ. So I had to look at it in a different sense. I had to find something else, myself or another object to place what I was doing it for. Because I am super codependent. Like, so it's easy for me to want to fix myself for someone else or something else. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was a battle. But I liked it.
Another thing that you've done is messages from mom, where you do, like, video, where people come in and do, like, videos, and you make stuff for your kids. What can you tell us about that?
So I like to do a lot of arts and crafts. That's, like, my mental health thing. I love it. It's my peace zone. I've learned how to do a lot of stuff. So this group of people come twice a year, and they let us film something for 15 minutes, and then we get to send them. It goes online, and we can send it to whoever. But I do, like, my past few ones, I did a decoration of a cup. Like, we make these Sunday cups, and you can, like, turn it into whatever you want. And I did a Chucky one for my son, and a Nightmare Before Christmas for my daughter.
Okay. Hey, you guys. I love and miss you so, so much. They're letting us do a video to send you how it's like in here and how we're doing. So I want to show you how I make these cups I keep telling you guys about. The sundaes that we fill with candy. This one's yours, Damien. It's Chucky. Okay, I have about 10 minutes to show you, so I'm going to try to do it as fast as I can. I brought this paper. I got black, green, purple, and tie-dye. Dayla, this is going to be for you because it's Nightmare Before Christmas. It's Jack and Sally. Okay, first, we take our cup and we, I have creamer glue. Instead of Elmer's glue like you have, in here we take creamer that you drink and mix it with water, and it makes a glue. So then I'm gonna make it with black base. So I'm gonna put it all over the bottom of this. And it's weird because it's really the creamer that Mama drinks in her coffee in the morning. So if you run out of glue, go steal Mama's creamer.
And then I did face painting for the last one. And another one I did fake fingers. Like, I love making like special effects, like props for like creepy, nasty stuff. But it's all with like the most oddest things, like toilet paper and paint I made fingers out of, like, and then like for the makeup video, the face paint, I did half of it with like acrylic paint, but half of it I taught my daughter how to do makeup with eyeshadow using chalk. So it's interesting, it's fun.
That's really cool. So that's something that you like to do. The other thing I'm curious about is you had a passion for Murderabilia. You had a passion for serial killer fans and stuff like that. And now, being a person who's incarcerated, I'm sure you have people write to you all the time. How has now being the person on kind of the other side of the fence, now you being a murderer, how has that changed or impacted the way that you look at the Murderabilia community and people who are fans of serial killers and things like that?
Well, my eyes opened a whole lot. Like, I didn't just want a letter to throw it online and brag about, oh, look what Monster wrote me. Look what I have for $100. Like, I think that's so foul. And that's something, I never did that. Everything that me and Rex got was pure for our, we admired it. We had so much passion behind it. And I think now, being in here, I see how annoying it is to, like, when people are like, will talk to me and like me and like ask for something, like my ID, for instance, or a drawing, and I'm like, okay, here you go, like, I'll draw you it, and then they don't talk to me, and then I see it online, and it's just like, dude, did you just fake this friendship for a freaking drawing? Like, at least give me a heads up. Like, I just see how fake people are and how it's just cool to get that. And that's why, like, honestly, I don't write many people. I don't do stuff for people because I just want to know, it's real, like, connection. Or at least if you want to sell it, at least look out for me. Because that's one thing we did. Like, if, say, Bobby Joe Long, Rex sold a lot of art for Bobby Joe Long, like, and he would say, can you sell this and send me, like, at least half? Rex would send him all of it. Like, at least be mindful, because it hurts our feelings, and well, it hurts my feelings. I have feelings. When you fake stuff and just to get something out of me, like, that's lame. That's not, you look foul. But I've learned that being in here, that I meet a lot of fake people, or that's all I mean to people, which is cool. Like, I'll own it. I like being the selfie killer. But then sometimes it is like, dude, is this all they see? Do they not want to talk scary movies with me? Like, I don't know. It's just, I have to uphold an image, and I guess it's just adjusting to that.
Yeah.
Sometimes I miss being Amanda.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's part of what this whole thing's about, is for you to, like, show your whole side of stuff, because everyone just kind of does show you off as the selfie killer and do the whole...
Yeah, I think I'm super cool. I like to talk about good music and good movies. And I don't know, it doesn't always have to be about murder. Yeah, murder's fun, murder's really cool, but I'm still got some other cool stuff in me. Not just this crazy, manipulating, cold-blooded killer.
Yeah.
That's like nighttime. Check me out during the day.
So you actually do have one last piece of Murderabilia with you that you could share.
I'm super excited because we were talking about him. So now, because people keep wanting to send drugs into the facilities through mail, now we have to get all our stuff photocopied. So this was the very last thing I got in the real mail, and it's from Paul Runge, and it's on file, like a file folder. But he made me this for Valentine's Day. And I was super stoked about it. I think it's beautiful. But this is my last piece of murderabilia I'll ever have. Well, not really, because I'm in here with a bunch of killers that I make sign everything.
What is your relationship with the people around you? What is your reputation within the prison?
It's cool, but a lot of people know me now. Like, people that've been here and, like, I've been, like, doing time with for a minute. They just know me as the crazy tattoo girl. I did have, like, especially with I think I have more of a reputation with the officers than I do, like, my offender, like, my community. The officers give me a lot of, like, whatever about it. I guess they like to test, like, the known killers in here. And, like, some of the stuff, like, OITs, new officers, like, tell me, they say during training is, like, annoying, I guess. Like, I don't know, they want me to be a monster. They want that kind of experience from me.
So are you brought up in training? Do they talk about you specifically in training?
I've been told that, yes. I get told that a lot.
Just because you're, like, one of the high-profile people, basically?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but, yeah, I guess so.
Well,
They think I'm a maniac.
So the whole point of this project was basically for you to kind of, like, share your side, unedited, unfiltered, just have you share what you feel. Is there anything that you want to say in regards to, like, the things that people have said about you, or correct any wrongs that have been said about your story?
There's a lot I want to correct. There's a lot that, like, bothers me that I hear, but I think I've grown into a point where it's just, like, whatever. Like, I hate hearing that I was a meth head and I did my crime all tweaked out. I've never even seen meth before. I was in a situation when I was younger. I bought Sudafed for someone because I was the only one with the ID and got in trouble for that. And, like, they use that charge to say that I was this hardcore drug addict as well, and that's very far from the truth. I like to party, I like to drink, but I lived in a college town. We all freaking do. I don't like that, and I don't like how they make it seem like our family was trash and not okay, because our family was beautiful. We had an incredible little family that I take a whole lot of pride in. We were very far from trash, and I didn't, like, cheat on Rex all the time and hurt him and do all these things to him. There's so much to it. I love Rex. I love Rex a lot. I'm angry at him. I'm, like, kind of frustrated with him, but at the end of the day, like, everyone in relationships has their ups and downs, and nobody can put on me that, like, he killed himself because of how horrible our relationship was or whatever. Like, there were serious issues going on that a lot of people, like, instead of seeing the truth behind something and seeing, like, the sadness in it, everyone, like, society's so mean and foul that you just want to judge somebody and just, like, find the littlest thing to blow up and just make it ugly. Like, I don't know, my life isn't as ugly as the media tries to portray it to be. I love my life, and I wouldn't have changed anything except for getting Rex help sooner, and I don't know, that's one thing that really bothers me.
So do you have any regrets or changes that you would do in regarding your situation, or would you do everything the same as you did before?
No, like, I want to go home so bad. I hate that question because it's like, no, I feel like Rex, I feel like that was what I owed Rex, and I feel like, in a sense, like, that's that, and it's hard for me to, like, say, yeah, I would take that away, yeah, I wouldn't do that. I only would because of my children. I want to be home with Damien and Dayla so freaking bad. But as far as, like, I don't regret what I did, no. I have no remorse for what I did other than leaving my kids. But I felt like that was something between me and Rex, like, that nobody will ever understand. And one thing about it, like, to this day, if you hurt my loved ones, that's you. You're done. And I feel like anybody who really truly loves someone would understand that.
Well, Amanda, I really appreciate you taking the time to just be so open and honest about all of this, and just give us a complete, transparent, open window into your world, into your feelings, everything like that. And I hope that you're happy with everything that we did, because I did want to give you a platform for you to be able to share your story. So I hope you're happy with it too. But thank you. I hope you have a good rest of the
thank
day.
you.
So,
You let me get my voice out there.
yeah, definitely.
And I know you're not going to twist and turn it. You're going to let the world see me for what I am. And I appreciate that because you know what I did was bad.
Mm-hmm.
You know that. You tell me all the time that what I did wasn't okay, but you also see me as a human and you see me for who I am. You see past my crime. That's very important for people like me to have.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, of course. I mean, that's what this was about, and that's the thing is, even behind every horrible deed that someone's done, there's still a person behind there. So, thank you, Amanda, and thank you for everybody watching. This is Murderabilia Show and Tell, and until next time, see you guys later. Any last words, Amanda?
No, thank you.
All
Thank you so much.
Bye.